The first question is, so in your eyes, what is the value of archaeology in general and for biblical studies?
Well, every human society, even the most simple one, has some ideas about its past. What happened, how the world has been created, how our forefathers came, and how our culture has been created. And the ancient Hebrew were the same. So you have the Bible, and you have a tradition about Bereshit, how the world has been created in 6 days, and then you have the history of humankind, and in the end you have the founded father of the Israelite, Abraham, and Isaac, and Jacob, and so you have history. This is how the people of Israel, the ancient people of Israel, understood their past. So this is something very basic, and today archaeology doing the same, but we have modern tools. So we can excavate and find levels and period. We have radiocarbon method for accurate dating. And the archaeologists are basically supplying this type of curiosity. People want to know what's happened in the past. And this is the job of the archaeologist, to submit an answer.
And why did you choose to excavate Lachish?
In the last 10 years or so, I'm focusing on the early history of the Kingdom of Judah. According to the biblical tradition, the kingdom existed about 400 years. The 10th century, the 9th century, the 8th century, and the 7th century. And the last 2 centuries are well known. But the first 2 centuries, the 10th and the 9th, are not so clear, and there are heavy debates about what's happened in this time period. So I excavated Chibet Kayafa, and now I'm working at Lachish to find level 4 at 5 in this site. And I think that together, both sites will give us a good picture about this unknown period.
So now that you've dug in Lachish several times, what do you know different that you didn't know before you started digging?
The core of the question is level 5, the first Iron Age settlement at Lachish. There were 3 basic debates. One, if this level ever existed or it's just a mistake of the archaeologist. The second question is if it existed, if it was a village or a fortified city. And the third question, what is the dating of this level? Now, after 4 seasons at Lachish, I know that there is level 5. I know that it is a fortified city because we discovered a new city wall. And we also uncovered olive pits from this level that we can send for radiocarbon dating. And once we'll have the results, we'll know what is the exact dating of the first fortified city at Lachish. If it was fortified at about 1000 BC, or 900 BC, or 800 BC, or maybe 700 BC. All these ideas have been suggested in the past.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of the site in general, both your expedition and previous ones, so but especially yours, but in general, what has been found on the site that would be valuable to a teacher in the classroom, and what ideas can be understood better because of them?
I think that the best correlation between the site and the excavations on one side and the biblical tradition on the other are what we're calling level 2 and level 3. Level 2 has been destroyed by the Babylonian. And at Lachish we discovered the famous Lachish letters, about 18 letters which describe the city and describe the people, and also the fire signal of Lachish and Azekah. And in Jeremiah, we also heard about Lachish and Azekah. So we have a very interesting correlation between Lachish, the letters of Lachish, and the biblical tradition about the last days of the kingdom of Judah. When level 3 is taken into consideration, we know about the Sennacherib campaign. It's mentioned in the Bible in 3 different books. In the book of Kings, in the book of Isaiah, and in Chronicles. And then in Lachish we have level 3 with the Assyrian siege ramp. The city has been destroyed. We can see how life looked like at the time of Hezekiah.
Mm-hmm. So how would a teacher bring that to life in the classroom using that information?
So the teacher can read with the student the biblical text. Then he can look at the Assyrian documents, the Sennacherib royal inscriptions, and the famous relief now in the British Museum that describe Lachish. Mm-hmm. And then he can also look at the archaeological finds, which were excavated by Professor David Ositchkin and published in numerous of books, and also 2 popular books. So altogether, the student can see the city, on the relief, read the text, see the archaeological data, and together you will understand how the Assyrian attacked the city, how the Judeans defend themselves, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. And how do the finds in Lachish shed light on the nature of that city as opposed to what we know just from the text itself?
Well, according to the biblical tradition, Lachish was the second most important city in Judah. King Amaziah, for example, there was a coup against him in Jerusalem, and he ran away to Lachish, and he was murdered in Lachish. And when you're excavating and you see the huge fortification of Lachish, the huge gates, the huge palace, you understand why he ran away to Lachish, because it was almost as important as Jerusalem.
Thank you. And you spoke about the relationship between ancient Gat, Tel Asafi, and Tel Lachish. What is that relationship?
A major question today is when the kingdom of Judah spread from the hill country, from Jerusalem region, into the lowland, and later even to the Beersheba valley. Some people believe it took place in the time of David and Solomon. Some people will take into consideration the tradition about Rehoboam fortifications, which fortified Lachish. And today many people would like to say that Judah was able to spread into the lowland only after Lachish. Today many people would like to say that Judah was able to spread into the lowland only after the site of Gat has been destroyed. And why? Gat was a huge city, almost 6-7 times bigger than Lachish, very dominant center. So people saying Judah was a small kingdom, Lachish was a huge kingdom, and Judah was not able to go into the lowland only after Gat has been destroyed, which means that Gat was destroyed first and then Judah came into the lowland. This is one possibility to understand the sequence. But if Lachish was built before, 100 years earlier, as mentioned in the Bible, according to Rehoboam fortified list, then we have a different scenario. Judah came into the lowland, took over lands and villages and population. Gat became smaller and smaller and weaker, and then it was possible to destroy it. So the question is, what is the cause and what is the effect? Some people would like to say the destruction of Gat enabled Judah to come in, but it's possible that while Judah came in, it was possible to destroy Gat. Mm-hmm. So we have two sites, huge sites, one near the other, and we need to clarify the chronological question when Lachish was built. If Lachish was built before Gat was destroyed, or Lachish was fortified after Gat. This is today the chicken and egg question.
Okay, and one last question. What is your message to teachers and students who are considering should they not come to an archaeological dig? And even in particular Lachish, but anyone.
I think that anybody who has some interest in the ancient world or in the biblical tradition, if he comes to an excavation even for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, he is inside the houses with the pottery, the animal bones, and all the artifacts that were left by our forefathers, and he will get better understanding how people lived in antiquity, and then he will also understand the biblical text in the original setting.
Okay, thank you very much.